Hello scholars, Captain Daniel Johnston here. In today's lesson, we're going to learn from Teddy Roosevelt how to build trust through building relationships. All right, let's dive right in. There are many ways for a leader to build trust with their people. Today's lesson focuses on maybe the most simple way, by getting to know them and letting them know that you care about them. This is true across all relationships, romantic, platonic, and yes, even professional. When people feel cared about, they will respond favorably. This response can easily become a relationship of trust and loyalty between a leader and their people. It is when the effort is put forth to build a relationship that people stop seeing a boss and start to see a leader. The trust that comes with a well-established relationship can't grow from nothing, which is why those in positions of power must make a concerted effort to talk to their people and foster this trust. Without any kind of attempt on the leader's part to forge this mutual trust, the people will most likely view their leadership as faceless enforcers and nothing more. Theodore Roosevelt was serving as the Assistant Secretary of the Navy when the U.S. entered the Spanish-American War. Moved by his desire to serve his country in a more active capacity, Assistant Secretary Roosevelt gave up his position in the McKinley administration and was granted a commission in the Army as a lieutenant colonel. The first assignment he received was leading a specialized unit of frontiersmen who were qualified as expert riders and marksmen. These men, who history would come to know as the Rough Riders, were deployed to the front lines in Cuba. The members of the unit were selected from all around the country, acting as a microcosm of the nation. Within just 5 days of the announcement of Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt assembling his team, over 20,000 men applied to fill the 800 available slots. The final result of the unit consisted of educated Harvard men, miners, law enforcement, Native Americans, and even cowboys. These men were all highly talented individuals who respected Roosevelt for what he had already accomplished, but they would not follow him on reputation alone. He would have to earn their trust. Knowing that, Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt took action right from the start to create a closely bonded unit. He accomplished this by running a unit where every soldier had to prove his worth. No one got special treatment, including himself. He ate what they ate, he slept where they slept, and he even trained beside them. Through working closely with his men and spending this critical time with them, Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt got to know his Rough Riders as more than soldiers in his regiment, but as brave and capable men. In the same turn, Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt had demonstrated to the men in his cavalry how he would never ask them to do anything he was not willing to do himself. This style of leadership was so impactful that he gained the trust and loyalty of his soldiers. On July 1st, 1898, the Rough Riders faced their greatest challenge in the Battle of San Juan Hill, which was a vital landmark to gain control of Santiago de Cuba, the country's second largest city. The U.S. forces would have to take the hill from a position that put them at a significant disadvantage. Most of the units waited at the base of the hill, nervous and scared of taking the charge into an uncertain fight. Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt and his Rough Riders did not shirk against facing these odds. In fact, the Lieutenant Colonel ordered the other commanders to move out of the way so that he and his Rough Riders could ride past them and close in on the enemy. The men of the Rough Riders trusted Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt enough to follow him directly into danger that other units were unwilling to face. They did this because they knew him, they trusted him, and they wanted to follow him. Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt's leadership preceding the Battle of San Juan Hill was instrumental in them achieving that American victory. Their heroics were not only significant in the Spanish-American War, but served as a morale boost to the Americans back home, where they became icons and symbols of American valor. Luckily for you, the loyalty of your people will not be tested to the same degree as the Rough Riders, but the process will still be the same for you as it was for Theodore Roosevelt. Effort. You cannot expect the effort for building this kind of a relationship of trust to come from your people. You are the one who is in power, and that makes you responsible for reaching out to them. When I say effort, the expectation is not for you to smother your people or insert yourself inappropriately into their activities, but just that you reach out. It can be as simple as asking them about their families or what they like to do on the weekend, and actually listening to their answers. I will schedule time out of my day to walk out in the flight line or in the back shops and talk to my airmen about what jobs they are doing and how their day is going overall. We don't necessarily become best friends, but it does help me connect with my people in a way that wouldn't be possible from behind my desk. Remember, this is not a one-time event. Don't think you got to know someone after one conversation and now you don't have to talk to anyone anymore. You need to be consistently reaching out. For some of you, this is easy. You are naturally open and warm. For others, it does not come as naturally, but because it is difficult is not an excuse for you to be aloof. You do not have that luxury if you want to be an effective leader. Don't make the mistake of thinking this lesson is just about being a nice person. It is about putting in the time and effort to make sure your people feel seen and cared about. All right, scholars, I have a challenge for you from today's lesson. I want each of you to answer the question, do you currently set aside time to talk to your people during the day? What kind of positive results have you seen from these interactions? Make sure to put your answer in the comments so we can all learn from each other. All right, till next time, Keep on learning. Thank you for watching. Much of what I go over in my lessons can be found in my book, Mission First, People Always, which is available for purchase through the link in the description of the video. If you enjoyed today's video and want more leadership lessons, then make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.